getting off the fragmented focus treadmill. And I'll repeat myself, I know. Here is the question to begin. What do you think is the greatest hurdle for small business owners? As we begin this webinar, I'm going to take a minute or two and share with you a little bit about who we are. So here's me. I'm Judy, and this is me when I was 5 years old. I'm standing in front of the corner store that my mom owned. I was going on a sales call with my dad, who owned a toy distributorship in Thunder Bay. My big treat on Saturdays was to go out on sales calls with him. My whole family was in business for themselves. This is my aunt and my grandfather out actually, as opposed to outside Jimmy's Snack Bar, which was their business. I actually didn't know that people worked for other people. I believed that being in your own business was all that everybody did. And here we have Nick. Nick also didn't know that people had jobs. His family was in the armed forces, and he traveled all over the world. He had become a totally independent soul who had ideas of his own. And he, too, didn't really realize that people actually had jobs. So it was no surprise that when we met, guess what? We became partners in life and business. And so we are Judy Hughes and Nick Hughes from your planning partners some 30 years later. We're still married and we're still in business. Our company helps business owners create exceptional businesses that will provide them with good income, allow them the time to have a life, and most importantly, a business that's more than only a job. We help our clients get clarity, stay focused, and take action. This is who we are, how we got here, and what we do. Today we're going to talk about getting off the fragmented focus treadmill. And here is the question. What do you think is the greatest hurdle for small business owners? We would love to hear from you as we go through. I have got some answers in, and we're going to share those as we go forward. There are many common hurdles standing in the way of small business owners building an exceptional business, and most of them come with the word lacking in front of them. Some of you have said that, in fact, money is the greatest hurdle. Actually, again, it's the lack of money, and yes, we definitely need money to grow our business. A few of you have said that time is the greatest hurdle. Again, lack of time. And yes, the busier you get, the less time you have to do the important rather than urgent things that need to be done. Nobody said skills. However, this comes up time and time again. Actually, it's lack of the right skills. And yes, you do need different skills than you started with to support the growth of your business. For example, you now need to embrace technology in order to really grow a strong, sustainable business. And still others did say that marketing or lack of marketing or too much marketing is what's getting in their way. And I hear it all the time. I need a better website. I need more speaking engagement. That may well be true. However, although all of these factors come into it and are hurdles, the biggest hurdle of all with the work we've done with hundreds of business owners is focus. Actually, it's not focus. It's lack of focus or fragmented focus. So here's the symptoms. You're working weekends and it's the norm. It's not the exception. You're working harder and getting no further ahead. You're not taking advantage of growth opportunities, and you're not creating new growth opportunities. You're doing work that you don't love, certainly not the work you started your business to do. You're overwhelmed, and you're losing passion. You started your business, you were totally excited, but you're not having fun anymore. Those are the symptoms. Here's the cause. You have no plan to support your growth. So you may have a plan, but your plan isn't supporting the growth that you've had. You had a plan to grow, but not a plan for that growth. The shiny object syndrome. This is one that comes up over and over again. Nick's going to talk about it a little bit more, but small business owners do not lack for new ideas. They're the most creative people I know, and they always have another new idea. The founder syndrome. It's my baby, and I just can't let it go. I hear that. Not planning your work, making plans to do this webinar, for example, but not planning the time to prepare for it or follow up with it. So what do? You end up working at home at night and in the morning and on the weekends. The wrong clients. Trust me, it's not true. Everyone is not your best client. And we're going to talk about all of these as we go through this webinar. And no vacation is a cause. It is not only a symptom. You cannot be focused, and you cannot make the hundreds of good decisions you need to make as a business owner if you're tired. And so what do we do? This is an exact segue into what Nick's going to talk about. What do we do?
And I'm going to talk about the curse of the to-do list. You know, that tool that is supposed to make our lives easier and more manageable, and instead they just grow and grow and grow. They take over your life, your sleep. You can't get rid of them. They just overwhelm you. But you can actually manage them. So how many of you use a to-do list to keep you on track? And if you do, does it look something like this? Or this? Or is it something like this that you use to keep yourself on track? And how many of you have multiple to-do lists? And I came across a situation where someone had a to-do list to manage their to-do list. So having a to-do list like this is really not of any help at all. It causes you to scurry from one activity to another. It gives you multiple focuses, and it puts you right back on that fragmented focus treadmill.
I once went to a presentation, and the fellow that was presenting used a great expression. If your to-do list looks like this, it is actually not a to-do list at all. It is simply only a list. And I've always remembered that. Is this a list or is this a to-do list?
So these webinars are not all about the bad things. These webinars are about how to overcome it. So yes, you can manage your to-do list. And you do this through a tool we use called must, should, and nice. And here is what you do. You go through your to-do list and you identify all those items that are a must-do, the ones that are critical to the success of your business. They're essential if you want to move your business forward. And even more important, they will help you get off the fragmented focus treadmill. When you've done that, you go back through and identify any items that you consider a should do. These are the ones that can be done at a later time. You can schedule them. You can come back to them next week, but they don't have to be done now, and they're not absolute musts. And then there's the nice ones down there in the bottom right-hand corner. And as the name implies, it would be nice to get this one done, but it's really not essential. And soon as you've identified all the nice, the first thing you do is cross them out, because you're never going to get to them anyway. So cross them out. For now, temporarily ignore the shoulds and just focus on the musts. And hopefully that to-do list that just contains must items is much shorter and much more manageable than the one you started with.
So what we're talking about right now is one of the causes, which is the not planning your work and ending up with doing a lot of client work or doing the things that are blocked in your calendar, but then ending up having to do all the support work for that later on.
Yep. Then there is the lure of the shiny object. They glint at you, they shine bright and clean, and you can't ignore them, and they just won't go away. And what they do is cause a nasty disease called SOS, the Shiny Object Syndrome, which Judy mentioned right up the front of this webinar. We chase shiny objects because they're exciting, they're new. It might be a new product idea, it might be a new marketing idea. It's something that's creative, and the reason we are in business for ourselves is because we are very creative and we come up with lovely ideas. Unfortunately, the shiny object syndrome takes your focus away from those must items on your to-do list and puts you into a situation where, once again, you might end up back on the fragmented focus treadmill, trying to do all things to all people.
The shiny object syndrome is so funny because we all are attracted by shiny objects. And sometimes we even convince ourselves that those shiny objects are actually part of what we should be doing in our business. So I encourage you to really think about whether, when you have something come up, like you want a workshop that you think would be absolutely appropriate, really, really question yourself as to, is this a shiny object or is this actually part of my core business? And if it's a shiny object, Nick is going to explain what to do with it, but if it's a shiny object, you don't have to lose it. You just really need to consider whether it's really for you right now.
Which is my segue. You put it in the parking lot. And this is so that you don't lose that fantastic idea you've got. You just can't deal with it right now. So the parking lot is that place you put things that you know are good ideas. You don't want to forget them. You want to come back to them later, but you don't want to lose them, as I said. And why do you need it? Because we're constantly coming up with new ideas, and some of them are great ideas and some can be ignored later, but we don't want to lose them.
So let me just take a minute and explain how a parking lot physically is. You can have a parking lot if you have a planning binder. You can have a tab called parking lot where you literally throw the ideas that come up, just put them in there. Or like me, you can have a folder on your computer. You can have a task. You can have a note on your mobile app. The whole idea is that you don't want to lose that idea because the whole world is made up of good new ideas, but you want to assess it at a time when you've actually had time to think it through and think through the impact it's going to have on your overall plans.
Thank you. And so the idea is the parking lot is stored away somewhere. It could be in a binder, it could be in a notebook, it could be on Evernote, whatever is the easiest for you. So set up right after this webinar. First thing you should do is go to your office and set up a parking lot for all those fantastic ideas.
Okay, the other thing I said was the cause is the founder syndrome. And I'm just going to share with you the actual definition. I looked this up of the founder syndrome. It's the leader who builds something from scratch and finds it difficult to delegate responsibility or develop staff that could potentially take over their job. Does that sound familiar? Are you hesitant to delegate the responsibility or develop the staff that could potentially take over your job? So here's what I hear over and over. No one understands my business like me. Well, I'll tell you that's absolutely true. Nobody does understand your business exactly like you. And you don't want anyone to understand it exactly like you. You want somebody who understands it from fresh eyes and not from inception. No one will treat our customers like I do. Well, if you're thinking like that, then you're not hiring the right people. And treating your customers, it starts right from the person who responds to your emails on your behalf or answers the phone. And if you want them to treat your customers like you do, you need to set standards in place as to how that is. I'm so frustrated. I have to do everything. And I hear this one a lot. And I honestly do not believe it. We do not have to do everything. Nick is going to talk a little later about delegation and how to delegate. Also, the other thing is sometimes we put stuff on our plate that we really don't even need to, nobody even needs to do. So these are things I hear over and over. The founder syndrome, again, is the leader who builds something from scratch, good for you, and finds it difficult to delegate responsibility or develop staff that could potentially take over their job. So staying with the founder syndrome for a second, what are some of the ways you can change that? One of them is to create a vision. I'm assuming that your vision does not include working every weekend. And I'm assuming that it includes vacations and friends and family. It's about doing what you love. So get very, very clear on what is it you want to do and where do you want to be. Document it. Do a vision board. Do whatever you need to do to put your vision front and center. That is what you want to remind yourself over and over. This is where I'm going, and is my action going to take me there. What needs to change? So once you've done that vision, have an honest and hard look at what is it that's going on in my business right now. Identify what it is you need to change. One of the things we're going to send you on Friday, actually, is a scorecard or a snapshot for you to fill out for yourselves. It's a self-assessment tool to get a really good feeling for where are you right now in your business and what do you need to change to get off the fragmented focus treadmill. Learn to delegate. Delegation does not come naturally to some. In fact, it doesn't come naturally to most of us. And Nick is going to walk us through some steps for delegation. And we are actually at the end going to give you a code so that you can get the delegation handbook off our website. For free. Yes, that's right. Don't be an island. Don't become insular. Talk to other business owners. Listen to their advice. Find out how they manage to bring on their team of the right people so that they are enjoying and loving their business. Hire someone to write procedures. Now, this sounds like a really big task. You don't need procedures for everything, but you don't want to constantly be recreating the wheel. There's no need for that. You can hire an intern. You can record the procedures and have it transcribed by somebody. But when you have them written down, it means that somebody else can do them, and it means that you don't have to constantly rethink how to do things. Simple things, like setting up this webinar this morning. You don't want to have to rethink that every time. Stop recreating the wheel. And most important, trust that other people can do most things better than you. I'm not suggesting that they can do everything better than you. You started this business because you had something wonderful that you do, and you probably still do it better than most. It's those other things. Trust that other people can do most things better than you.
So I'm going to talk about delegation and how to delegate. So remember this mantra: stop doing what you shouldn't be doing. Delegate. And the cartoon here says, "Hello, Mrs. Thomas. I'm Jerry Harris from the office. Good news, your husband has finally learned to delegate. He asked me to take you and the kids on holiday." Bit extreme, but quite good. So in order to delegate, there are 7 steps to follow in order to successfully delegate. And we're going to go through steps 1 to 7 right now. So take up step 1. Select activity to delegate. And the activity you want to select is one that takes you a lot of time, or you have someone available you can delegate it to, or it'll cost less if you delegate, or there is someone there who can do it much better than you. So select an activity to delegate. And then identify, step 2, identify who to delegate it to. Remember, you don't have to have an employee waiting around for you to delegate work to. It could be a virtual assistant, a part-time bookkeeper, an intern, a friend of the family. In identifying the right person, however, keep the following in mind. Match the skills and experience to the task at hand. If it requires attention to detail, make sure the person is really good at detail work, and exclude anyone who is already very busy unless you intend to delegate some of their work. And I'm sure this is what Rebecca feels whenever Judy wants to delegate some more. You all know Rebecca, of course. Step number 3. First thing is explain the activity to the person, including the context within the overall business and operation. If you just say, please list the following, without explaining why or what purpose it has, it's not going to be nearly a successful delegation. And make sure that they understand who depends on the outcome and where the input for this activity comes from. In other words, you're just walking through the activity, explaining it to them, and giving them the broader context so they can understand where it fits. Step number 4, show them how to do it. Don't tell them, show them how to do it. Ask the right questions as you're doing this. Do you understand? Does this make sense to you? What areas will you have difficulty with? And then you're ready to go to step 5. Watch them do the activity and provide corrective action. So they are now doing it, and you're sitting with them and watching how they do it. Provide positive feedback as they're doing it. Correct when necessary. But most important, listen to their ideas, because they could well have found a better way to do it. Listen to that, and if you agree, definitely give them the go-ahead.
That's right, because the reason you've delegated this work is not because you necessarily do it best. It's so that you can do other things that are more important to the growth of your business or to your personal life. It could be delegation so that you can have weekends off again. It could be delegation so that you can take vacation. This is not only delegation so you can take on more work.
Good point. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. I will remember that one. That's good. Step number 6. Let them do it and then check the results. So you're not sitting with them anymore. They do the activity and then you check it. Explain they will now do it on their own, but you will check the results. And explain the reason you're going to check the results is just so that they are satisfied that they're on the right path. But very important, emphasize they are not on their own ever. They can come to you for questions and help at any time. Do not let them feel that they've been abandoned to do this completely on their own and with no help from anybody else. And then we've arrived at success. Step number 7, you can let go. Congratulations, they will be flying solo. Again, though, emphasize they can always come for help and or questions. Never leave them feeling that they must do everything without any support or help. Here's a little side benefit to this. Get them now to document that process that they're doing. So now we've got another documented process, so we don't have to rethink the how to do it. If this person is away, someone else can do it on their behalf and so on. So get them to document it and be available at any time to listen to ideas on how to improve it.
I'm just going to take the documentation thing a step further. We have a client who does have a team of people who deliver work. He has just hired his first quote-unquote non-billable person as a support person to support marketing initiatives and internal work. And so one of the things that we've put in place on the onboarding is that every single thing that she, in this case, takes on as part of her new role in the organization, she will, after she's gone through it once, she will document it, so that what they will be doing is building their first procedural manual for the backstage of the company. This is all part of, as a reminder, this is all about gaining focus and getting off the fragmented focus treadmill. If those processes aren't documented, the next time they bring on the next internal staff person for the backstage, they're going to have to start all over again. And this employer is going to be, our client is going to be right back at having to work weekends, having to work extra hours in order to onboard this next new person.
And another additional benefit to creating a process manual is a bit like a franchise. If you plan to sell your business at sometime in the future, potential buyers are very impressed if your operation is well documented and well processed and therefore franchised. It makes their job of takeover very much easier.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so now one of the things I said was the cause is having the wrong clients. So I'd like to talk about what the right clients are. The cause of the fragmented focus treadmill is having the wrong clients, because the wrong clients eat up tons and tons of your time. We're going to walk through this a little bit. So what do I mean by wrong clients? Those are the clients that suck your energy. You know who they are. We all have had one or two in our lives. They're the people who you leave the meeting with them, or you get off the phone and you think to yourself, why am I doing this? They're the ones who abuse your time. They arrive late, they leave early, they're on their device all the time, they email you at all hours, and they expect immediate attention. They question everything you do, and not in a positive way. They ask you things like, are you sure of this? That's not going to work for me just because it works for somebody else. Is any of this resonating with any of you? We all have had wrong clients. They tell other people They tell other people how much they're paying you. They use words like, that's why I'm paying you the big bucks. Those are the wrong clients.
I should add here, by the way, we have no wrong clients.
No, we don't. No, we absolutely don't actually at the moment. When you have wrong clients, even one wrong client in your roster, you start questioning your ability and you start questioning your skills. This negative energy comes into all aspects of your business, and these clients cost you twice as much time as the right clients. It happens over and over. So now let's talk about the right clients. These are the clients that energize you. You want to do more. These are the ones who remind you why you love your work so much. They value your time. They're grateful for any extra time that you're able to provide them with. They come prepared to the meetings. They do the work that you ask them to do. They respect your expertise and they follow your advice. They tell other people how much they like working with you and what a great investment it has been for them. They're the people who give you referrals and who give you testimonials and endorsements. So we want more of those right clients. You will feel energized when you work with these people. You know how good you are, and you know what you do and what you want to do and how to get better. If you have only right clients, you could probably take on 25% more and get off the fragmented focus treadmill. So the next question is, how do we know who is your right client? Well, your right client is your ideal client. Think through your client list and make a list of who are your ideal clients, the clients that have all of those qualities that I spoke of a minute ago. Make a list of those qualities, their qualities and attributes, and most importantly, answer the question of why, oops, wrong typo there, why do they value your work? Be a part of their community. Build a business that, find out what they do, and once you know what it is, be sure that you are where they are, whether it's social media, whether it's networking, whether it's business associations. You want to learn more and more about who they are, who the people are that they mix with, and what they do.
I think just coming back to their community, one of the areas that we sometimes forget to seek out is the professional associations your potential client might be a member of and then becomes your client. Because there, if you can attend some of their sessions, their meetings, you will learn much, much more about their industry.
Yes, that's right. And excuse me, their industry, and also these are people who love working with you, so they're going to introduce you to more people like themselves. Build a business that serves them well and efficiently. And what I mean by that is when you're planning your growth, build a company that supports your ideal client. Build a plan that supports your ideal client. You want to stay off the fragmented focus treadmill, so when you're thinking of your growth, think of how do I do things within my growth that is going to serve my customers well and that's going to be scalable so that I don't need to do it all. Don't deviate. Don't second guess yourself about who this ideal client is. Simply go out and get more of them. Don't be afraid to say no to the wrong client. You probably know that they're the wrong fit when you first talk to them. They're probably wonderful people and they probably have a great need. Refer them to someone else who is the right fit. The wrong client costs you so much time and energy that you absolutely should be spending on other things, including your own time. Put that same time and energy into finding and keeping the right clients, and I guarantee you, you will start to get off the fragmented focus treadmill.
Any questions so far? You can check. So I'm going to start talking about planning, because planning is one of the great tools to help you get off the fragmented focus treadmill, because it gives you and your team focus on the important things that you need to do to grow the business. And one of the issues that we hear about is planning. Who's got time for planning? And that's true. Planning is over and above the day-to-day operating of your business. So we suggest a number of ways to do that. Is take a weekend away to do just planning, or take a Friday and a Monday away to do planning. Get away from the office, and in fact that's what our clients do when they work with us and we're helping them create their plan, is they actually come down to our location and we keep them away from their ringing phones and interruptions. And keep in mind what Richard Cushing says on the right there, always plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. And that's really what planning is all about, is identifying what you need to do in the future, a future that you don't know a lot about, but you know probably more than other people, but planning for that future so you can be proactive and again keep away from that terrible treadmill. And we've all heard the expression, fail to plan, we plan to fail. So we believe that planning, amongst all these other ideas that we're sharing with you today, is equally as important if you're going to stay focused and grow your business in the way that you want to. So I'm going to walk through what we call the strategic focus planning model. And the very first step, Judy just mentioned earlier, the very first step we do with anyone is a half-day session to create a vision for the future. And this vision is a personal vision. It will include some things around the business, but it's really a case of where do you want to be in the future and where do you want to be with your business in the future. This, by the way, this half-day session is free for, because this is the way we also determine whether we're right for the potential client and whether they're right for us.
I'm going to jump in here and say that generally do this at the, you should revisit your vision probably every year, but for sure every couple of years. It doesn't usually deviate much from what it started as, but life does happen and we do need to reassess where we want to go from time to time and not try and fool ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely true. And the last point about the vision is we have come across situations where someone has built a business that they don't really like. And when we dig into it, we realize it's because it really doesn't fit with what they felt their vision had been when they started it. So this does serve as an anchor to make sure you stay focused on where you want to be in the future so your business will grow towards that vision. Our next step is a mission. And the mission is all about the purpose of the business. It's a filter for everything you do. I've provided some examples down below there that please read through. But you use it as a filter to stop you from chasing those shiny objects. You use it as a filter to make sure you don't bring on the wrong clients and stay with the right ones. It stops you getting into that fragmented focus treadmill, and it stops you from recreating your business every time a new opportunity knocks at the door. The question you constantly ask yourself when you have your mission defined is this the business I'm in? And by the way, if you go onto our website and to the articles section, there is an article on the power of purpose which explains how you can create your own mission. Then we do the 3-year objectives. Where do we want the business to be in 3 years' time? We do this for revenue, we do this for products, we do this for team, we do this for systems and operations, and we make it very well defined so that we want revenue of X number of dollars in 3 years' time. We want a team that is this size, or we want products that are covering this marketplace. And this is where we want the business to be in 3 years. And from this, we do a gap analysis. What is a gap analysis? Well, we've identified where we want to be in 3 years' time. And so we identify where are we today. And from that, we can say, okay, where do we want to be in 1 year's time? So we set 1-year goals. So you see now we're getting more and more refined into a shorter time span. So we started with a vision that's way into the future. We defined where we want to be in 3 years. Now we're saying, where do we want to be in order to achieve that? Where do we want to be in 1 year's time. And you might have already noticed that all these bubbles have arrows, and the arrows are not pointing downwards, they're pointing upwards. And that is because as we work through the process, we must make sure that the 1-year goals are in sync with the 3-year objectives, that the 3-year objectives are not out of line with the mission of the company, and the mission is in line with the vision. So we're constantly going back and making sure that that connection is valid. The 1-year goals, we can't just set a 1-year goal and say, okay, let's work towards it. We need to set strategies to determine how are we going to go from where we are today to where we want to be in 1 year's time. And that's what's called the strategies. And we break this down even further. We take those strategies and say, okay, what is the focus for the next 90 days? And what is the focus for the next 30 days? So we've worked through a process here where we've gone from a broad vision of sometime in the future down to exactly what we need to work on in the next 30 days, 1 month of course, and the next 90 days, 3 months, in order to achieve the 1-year goals, the 3-year objectives, and so on. So we've broken it down into manageable, small chunks.
The biggest piece of this that and our clients, I was going to say I find the best, but also our clients comment on, is that if you know that if you're doing some of the activities in the 90-day and 30-day focus, and you know that those are in line with the strategies you've set, then even if you don't look at your plans again for that quarter, you know that you're doing things towards your 1-year goal and your 3-year objectives. So you know that the steps that you're taking are in fact in line with where you're going.
Yeah, thank you. Now there is one issue with this planning model, and that is planning is all about money later. And that it's about money next month, next year, the end of this year, and so on. And you are very busy making sure that you have money now. So we must balance that up. And that's as we're working through the year and managing the plan, that's certainly what we do. We balance the money now need with the money later need. And if we don't stay focused on the money later need, it becomes money none, because suddenly we've run out of clients and prospects and things like that.
And you're not going to, again, you're not going towards the vision that you have for yourself and your business. And this is all about finding focus to have an exceptional business. We absolutely believe that you can have an exceptional business, have a life, and do the things you love. And that can't happen unless you have clarity around where you're going, and unless you're doing something every month that's going to be taking you to the big picture.
Yeah, thank you. That's a big point, the big picture. And a just quick aside, I know that when you get the email following this webinar, it'll include a link that you can download our Planning for Success handbook, which gives you much more details around this, and you can then follow that. So that is the planning. This is what will get you off that fragmented focus treadmill. And I asked Judy to give you some more information about the 90 and 30-day focus, because it's a very powerful tool that helps people achieve their plans and stay focused there.
Okay. He actually did it because it's my favorite tool.
She insisted on doing it.
It's taking charge. The 90-day, 30-day focus is all about taking charge of your own life and of achieving the success you want for your business. And so it starts, as Nick said, that your strategies and actions must be worked on all the time on an ongoing basis. And so what you do is you start by identifying what are the strategies and actions, or what is the focus that I must set for the next 3 months, for the next 90 days. You can do it by quarter. That's the way I like to do it. And so you want to set your focus in line with your plans for the next 90 days. And then you want to take that and break it down into 30-day chunks. So if that's my 90-day focus, where do I need to be in 60 days, 30 days, etc.? This is an exercise, by the way, that you should be doing with your team. We do it with our team on the 90-day focus and the 30-day focus. And our team, by the way, includes our Google Analytics person, the person who helps support our website, and it includes our coaches, the people who work outsourced work for us, because they all have to have a piece in it, and we have to be sure that we're sharing our vision with them or our goals with them. Otherwise, we're all working as silos. So the 90-day, 30-day focus is a tool to incorporate into working with your team as well. So every day you want to be focusing some activity on the actual 30-day focus. So go through, pull out some of the things that are in that 30-day focus and turn them into your quote-unquote to-do list, your tasks for the day, the most important tasks of that day.
And they are the musts on that must, should, nice, of course.
That's right. So just here's why I love it so much, is we all know that Christmas is coming on December 25th. And, well, certainly I know December comes on December 25th is Christmas. So I ask myself every year, why is it I'm always wrapping Christmas gifts on December 24th? And the reason is because on January 1st, December 25th seems really far away. So that's why you do 90-day focus. Your goals seem really far away when you set them. The 90-day focus gives you something really strong to work towards to achieve in a very short period of time. You relate it back to your plans, as I said, and at the end of that 90 days, you go back and you set the next one for the next quarter. Now, I want to tell you, don't just say, oh, we didn't get that done in this quarter. That's not how it works. You don't say, oh, gee, I had that on my focus, but I was way too busy. The reality is you want someone else to work with you and say, why didn't you get this done? What can we do to help change that? What can we do differently going forward in the next quarter? Because to just use it as a to-do list that never gets done is not going to help you at all.
Good point. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so we're getting there. We've got charge of our life. We've got a plan in place. You're going to really put the shiny objects into a parking lot. You're going to learn to delegate and so that you can minimize the founder syndrome. You're planning your work by doing must, should, and nice.
I was going to say you wrestled your to-do list down into a manageable thing.
That's right. And you're taking charge of your life by using your 90-day and 30-day focus. And you only have the best clients on your roster. So, wow, hey, you're certainly on the road to being focused. So now, go on vacation. Okay, so this seems like the biggest and most daunting piece for some of you. However, it can be done. We have many clients who, when they start working with us, they were wearing this badge, what I call the badge of honor of the small business person. And it says, I haven't been on a proper vacation in more than 2 years. Now, in my opinion, that does not speak well of business owners. So I always say, that's too bad. What can we do to change that? Many of our clients have been wearing that badge when they first came to work with us, and a couple of years later, we're happily sharing travel logs over lunch. So it can happen. And here's how. Here's what you have to do. First thing is you have to have at least 2 weeks at one time. Somebody said to me, well, is 1 week not good enough? And my answer is no, 1 week is not good enough. You need to have 2 weeks at one time so that you're really on vacation and you know it.
And it's known the fact that 1 week vacation is a nice break, but it doesn't get your body completely rested. It's in that second week that it really unwinds, and that's where you get the energy to come back and do your 90-day focus.
That's right. Do the things you love. And you need to do it at least 2 times a year. And now everybody's going, what, a month a year? And I'm going to say, yes, a month a year. Because you cannot possibly focus on your business the way you need to and with the energy that you need without having a break at least twice a year for at least 2 weeks at a time. This took us a long time, but we actually take 8 weeks a year. We take 2 weeks a quarter. So it's possible. We didn't think it was either when we first started. Put the time in your calendar and then figure out where you're going to go. So in other words, don't wait and say, well, I don't know where I'm going. I haven't booked a trip. Yes, all of those good excuses. Put the time in your calendar right now. Go back to your desk, set out the time you're going to take, put the 2 weeks in there. You can move clients, you can move everything you need to, and then figure out where you're going to go.
Isn't that a fun Wednesday start? You can go away and just think of vacation.
That's right, exactly. Tell people you're doing it. Here we have accountability. The minute you start telling people that you're going away for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of August or the first 2 weeks of October, you immediately become accountable to take that vacation that you told everybody you're taking. On top of that, everybody's going to have way more respect for you than when you say you haven't had a vacation in the last 2 years. And this is a request. Disconnect from your email. I recognize that some people cannot totally disconnect for the full 2 weeks. I know that that is not always the case. However, I will suggest the following. Don't pretend to be on vacation, and in fact, you're actually working. If you must be in touch with your business, your clients, or your office, set a time to do that. Schedule the time and do it every couple of days and do it with purpose. But don't constantly be on email. Otherwise, you might as well be sitting in your office. The sunshine is not going to give you the relaxation and the rest and the rejuvenation that you need.
And we're emphasizing vacation here, not because we know you've got a horrible job and all you're living for is your retirement and the vacations. It's on the contrary, you've got a business you're running, you're passionate about it, it's fun and exciting to do. And so what we tend to do is forget to take those times away and vacations and things like that. And it's a known fact that it is not good for your health. You lose your energy, and then you lose your passion, and you're back on that fragmented focus treadmill. So it is really for your benefit and the benefit of your business that you do take these times away and get rejuvenated, as Judy called it.
Thank you. That's right. If you are on the fragmented focus treadmill, just know that you can get off. You will get on and off several times in your business career. Remember, though, you can get off. Something I've learned recently is that you can't just jump off. That doesn't work. You need to slow the treadmill down first, and step by step, as it slows down, you can slowly step off. Every time you grow your business, every time you bring on a new staff member, every time you bring something new into the organization, the fragmented focus treadmill will start to get faster and faster. And it's your choice as to if you slow it down. In order to remember it is your choice, and in order to make that choice, you have to make changes in order to make it happen. The first thing you need to do is be very clear on what is it that you want. How do you want your life and your work to look when you're off the treadmill? Get very, very clear about that so you know where you're going. The next thing is to be very, very honest about what your current situation is now. What does it really look like on that treadmill? And what is it that has to happen to get you off? Ask yourself, what is it that caused this? Why do you think that this has happened? And again, what is it that you need to do to get off? What is it that has to happen? And remember, you need to slow it down first and then step off. So some next steps for you. The first one is that we will be sending you an evaluation form right after this webinar, and we ask you to please complete the form so that we can identify areas that we can help you and improve our webinars more. We will be sending you a gift code to go to the shopping cart on our website and download the delegation handbook. And we will send our strategic focus scorecard. When you complete it, you will get a pretty clear picture of where you are regarding the fragmented focus treadmill. I encourage you to click the submit button. It'll come back to me, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you about supporting you in getting off that treadmill. We're taking vacation from our webinars this summer, and we will restart again on September the 16th. So our next webinar is on September the 16th, and it's a really fun and energized webinar. It's all about networking, online and offline, and how to leverage those. I hope you can join us. Put it in your calendar. Schedule it. Some of you are not on our mailing list. Please do sign up for our newsletter. It's short, sweet, practical, and relevant, and it's totally geared to building a strong and sustainable business. Thank you, and we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this webinar.